here now, after 30 years, no one has smelt this smell for 30 years. I want you to be able to smell this smell and feel those feelings that you get from a vintage bottle of Parabolan. No one else has access to this. No one else knows how to do this now.
What's up guys, Derek, moreplates.com. Today we are going to be talking about sniffing pharma grade Tren to get fucking hyphy in the gym. Indeed, you heard me correctly. This is the next level techniques that are being deployed by IFBB pro bodybuilders, apparently. So obviously when I saw this, I was like fucking perplexed, dude. But I am not closed-minded enough to consider possibilities of performance enhancement above and beyond the traditional means that you're probably familiar with. Like I know the efficacy of smelling salts for hitting PRs, for example. And in this video, we have IFBB pro Strand. He is a Canadian IFBB pro, and I think a pretty young guy still. I think he's in his 20s, and he, I don't know, he was kind of like, I remember seeing like a super absurd shot of him pre-contest like 7 years ago or 8 years ago or something, and the guy looked absolutely nutty. Like he started to pick up some steam on social media after this one like viral picture in the mirror pre-contest one time, and he has been grinding his way into the IFBB pro ranks, and still taking it fucking seriously. You know, grinding out lean tissue every year and making progress. And he is not opposed to trying unique and kind of interesting things, evidently, because in this video, it's called Hula Hypnosis Triggers Parabolan, IFBB pro Strand. Here, I'll let his trainer, coach, I don't know who he is, I guess just like maybe one of his coaches for this particular method, explain what they're gonna be doing.
What we want to really focus on today is our ability to be able to go in and out of the perfect state at the perfect time. And during today's session, I'm going to do an exercise with Robin and with you as well, between being able to set a trigger, fire a trigger, and enjoy the benefits of a trigger.
And I think this will be really beneficial for all you guys watching, all you girls watching, because I get this question a lot, and I often see it in my clients is, how can I optimize each training session? Or what do I do if I don't have a good workout? And people kind of carry on that, oh, I had a bad workout, and then the next day's not so great, and the next day's not so great.
This guy's like the most androgenic fucking voice I've ever heard, dude. Like, it doesn't even sound real. Goddamn, son. It's like literally if Giga Chad could speak.
Eliminate that from your thoughts forever. Every training session going forward is going to be the best one you've ever experienced.
So the exercise we're going to do with Big Rob today is called the Circle of Excellence.
Isn't it funny how many people's names get the word like big put in front of it if you're just like a big, like certain names work but some don't, like Big Mike. How many fucking Big Mikes are there? Like, come on. Big Rob, like, but big, like, I don't know, like big, I don't know, Big Kevin, is that a fucking one? Big Ronald, like there's certain names that just like don't work, dude.
I'm going to have him imagine a circle in front of him. I'm going to place that circle down right now. Now, Robin, what I want you to be able to do, I want you to be able to imagine, this is a test of your imagination.
In before comments about this in the comment section.
The perfect back. It can be real, it can be a hero of yours, it can be an imaginary figure, whatever it is. Do that now and just close your eyes, and your ability to be able to do that becomes stronger. Just place your hand on top of mine, push down. Harder, 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 harder. Sleep all the way down. That's right. And imagine the perfect imaginary person inside that circle now. When you got it, just give your head a little nod. I want you to step forward into that circle. And I want you to take on all the qualities of that perfect back. I want you to see what he sees, hear what he hears, feel what he feels.
Okay, so I don't know if they actually believe this works or if they're just trying it because they're trying to be open-minded, but I mean, like if I'm in the gym and I'm like hyped up, I'm on like a fucking like grams of gear and I'm trying to grow a huge back, the last thing I'm able to do is achieve like a meditative, relaxed, fall asleep state. I think the fucking music's blasting probably. You're like hyped up as fuck. Your sympathetic nervous drive is through the goddamn roof. because of all the androgens, and then I'm just like able to sleep like that, I am skeptical.
Each and everything that you need to be able to develop the perfect back is inside of that circle now. It's inside of you. That's right. And feel.
Just inserted him with 5 grams of Tren into the chest, bro. It's now inside of you.
Feel the difference. Take all the time you need over the next couple of seconds to lock those things in. That's right. We just lock those things inside the mind now. Step back out of the circle.
Now, one thing I should say is I'm not opposed to the idea that the mind is extremely powerful and can make your body do things that it otherwise wouldn't have been able to do if you didn't believe it truly. Like, I don't know, like individuals who've like willed themselves to, I don't know, like individuals who've like made themselves sick, for example, just by believing they were sick, or individuals who had were so upset and they had like no will to live that they just like died. Like I think heartbreak syndrome or something, or heartbreak something, is literally a cause of death that can happen. Like I'm pretty sure, I forget who it was that passed away, and then their mother ended up passing away shortly thereafter from heartbreak syndrome or whatever. Like the mind is extremely powerful, but even with that being said, I'm skeptical that the mind can just like unlock like capabilities of muscle fibers that just like physically aren't there. Like if you have muscle cell limitations, myonuclei like banked up to a certain extent, and certain gene expression at the androgen receptor, like will your mind tell them to somehow just like all of a sudden there's just going to be like triple the number of them because your mind thought about it? You know, obviously not, at least I would think. But anyways, I'm trying to not be closed-minded here. So anyways, let's get back into the video.
Relax.
See what difference?
Oh yeah, feel the pump already. It's
Yeah.
starting in my lats.
Really?
Oh yeah. Well, wherever attention goes, energy flows. So that's a good thing to, you know, it's like, oh, I'm thinking all these negative thoughts today. Why can't I get a good workout? It just makes perfect sense that if you can eliminate those thoughts, start thinking positively, or what we're doing today, we're thinking about a back. We're thinking about building a back. So if I can imagine that back, my attention is in my back right now, I can already feel the blood flowing there. I can literally feel my back starting to get pumped up already. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, so like I guess if you were able to like focus more on a body part, then hypothetically you could, you know, definitely enhance a workout. Because like I think one of the main reasons, well, like I think a lot of reasons certain genetic predispositions occur is just straight up their genetic predispositions, rather than the person doesn't know how to activate them. Like if somebody has like a horrendous bicep peak, are they suddenly going to develop a peak because they learned how to like fucking like flex their arm properly? I don't know, maybe back is a bit different, maybe like calves, or like, I don't fucking know. Like at the end of the day, it's something that I do believe has utility. Like for example, there's a reason why spotters and, you know, pro bodybuilders will like put their hands on each other's back. So then you can like, if you feel a physical like touch on a certain area, it becomes a bit easier for your brain to connect with that spot and squeeze adequately. So maybe this is like accomplishing that to some extent, and you know, that could be worthwhile, maybe.
Try it out at home.
Put your hand on top of mine. Push down, push down, push down, push down. Harder, harder, harder. Sleep all the way down. That's right. And that's another instant induction. Now this time in the circle, I want you to imagine yourself with all those qualities. That's right. Imagine yourself with all those qualities, each specific muscle that you need to change and develop now. Back to the future, each and every breath you take. Big, strong, powerful back. Step into the circle and imagine those things now, circulating, pumping all the way through the back, all the way through the mind, all the way through the body.
Okay, so I was actually not expecting all this hypnosis stuff, and it seems like it's kind of long, so I'm going to skip to the Parabolan part, because if you thought this was wild, like wait till you see the fucking next part, dude.
For you to be able to feel the difference. Now, pull, hold, relax. That's right. Back when I was a competitive bodybuilder, one of the things that always fascinated me was your ability to be able to recollect, to revivify an experience through the use of smell. Now, back in the day, I recall breaking open a Parabolan, a bottle of Parabolan. As I set it on my kitchen table, I walked into the other room because the phone rang. It was a disturbance, it threw me off a little bit. As I come back into the room, what's that smell I smell? I couldn't believe it. Then I realized, well, it was the actual Parabolan that I was smelling.
It's the fucking guaiacol or glycol, bro. That's what it is. At least that's what I think. I don't think you can actually smell. Can you smell raw Trenbolone hormone? Any chemists here, maybe you have a better idea than me, but as far as I know, it's like the solvents and the shit that is suspending the chemical is otherwise. Like if you've ever smelled underground lab, I've never had Parabolan myself personally. And you've probably never had Parabolan yourself. You've probably had underground lab shit called Parabolan. These are the literal Parabolan amps that were designed by Negma Pharmaceuticals in France in the 80s for a legitimate clinical purpose. Like this was the original dosing regimen for actual Trenbolone, Parabolan amps. I believe it was actually designed for the use in women. You know, it's actually a steroidal androgen receptor modulator. So this is, you know, often it's kind of fucking ridiculous how you see this anabolic to androgenic ratio chart and you see Trenbolone, it's like 500 to 500 instead of test, which is 100 to 100. And then this like rumor has basically been circulated throughout the industry over the years that Trenbolone is 5 times more potent at anabolic activity than test, which obviously isn't the case, as well as 5 times more androgenic, which definitely is not the case. It's actually more tissue selective, significantly so, and that's why it was designed. Like any anabolic steroid that was designed after testosterone was, you know, discovered, was to try and improve on its selectivity for use in a clinical setting for, you know, the elderly, for the androgen sensitive, like women, children. This is not something that would be worse than testosterone from androgenic activity perspective. So anyways, if you want to see the breakdown of the exact Trenbolone protocol that was prescribed in the 80s with these amps, you can check it out in this video. I kind of dissect it out of this package insert, but these were the original Tren amps that are pharmaceutical grade. Now it was discontinued, I believe, either in the 80s or 90s. And then people were basically like back then, you know, sourcing was so difficult and the internet was not around and made it as easy as it is now. You would have people like flying to fucking Italy, flying to France and like collecting a smorgasbord of different drugs in order to design their stacks. And they would kind of just like get what they could or go directly to a certain country to source a very specific compound. And I am skeptical that this random vial has Parabolan in it, to be honest. Like I would assume this would be, I don't know, like I guess if he just took it out of the amp and then put it in a multi-dose vial and like knew he wanted to keep it forever, maybe that's possible because you can't just keep it in a broken amp obviously forever, so it's possible, but I'm going to assume you're smelling the, I don't know how to say it, glycol? I don't know if glycol was in this shit too, by the way. It would show in the composition. Actually, here we go. Alcohol, let's see. Yeah, so I don't know, at least with UGL Tren, that smell, as far as I know, is the glycol, if that's how you say it. But as far as the Parabolan, that, you know, unique scent that it has, I've never smelled it, so I couldn't say what this is exactly.
Here now, after 30 years, no one has smelt this smell for 30 years. I want you to be able to smell this smell and feel those feelings that you get from a vintage bottle of Parabolan. No one else has access to this. No one else knows how to do this now.
No one else knows how to do this. Like smell it? Like no one knows how to inhale the smell of steroids? I don't know. That's kind of wild that he's had this shit for this long and just like thought this was a legitimate like a means of inducing aggression on the weights or something though, and he's the first guy he's gonna use it on.
Through one side, smell. Through the other side, smell.
Imagine just fucking like rages out, like breaks the guy in half and just like picks up the machine, fucking tosses it across the gym.
Now, if you want to revivify it even stronger, of course, just reach up, squeeze your nose together yourself. Train. Oh yeah, get it. Inside your mind now, you have access to that ability to be able to feel those things. Look at the veins coming out. That's right. Spread those lats, feel those lats. That's right. All the way down. Deeper and deeper inside your mind now.
I can smell it.
Smell that smell?
It's as close as we're gonna get to smell-o-vision right now.
Man, where do I hire a trainer who's gonna walk around with a bottle of Tren, shove it up my nose every set? Fuck, dude.
Definitely. So
How does that smell?
So this smells good. This smells like power. You know, we're talking about like how different smells affect us, and every human being has their own kind of body odor and pheromone. And that is one of the biggest attractions, especially for me. I find that scent is like very important for me. So if I have a partner and they have like a distinctive scent, like I want to smell that when they're around me. Or if it's not a good smell, distinctive smell, I don't really like that. It's not the right partner for me, because it's something that's kind of like innate. You're gonna have these these senses, right? And they're very powerful. So
it's kind of interesting, because I know that people who use underground Tren, like they often, sometimes you'll see, you know, threads on Reddit and stuff where people are saying there's like a unique, like girls can like sense the Tren scent on you. And it's always made me wonder, like, is that you just like leaking fucking like shitty toxic solvents like out of your goddamn body essentially and trying to excrete them? Or is this the actual Tren like manipulating your biochemistry to a point that you're actually changing your like pheromones? I don't know.
And not only that, you're just not remembering the smell, you're revivifying the smell, so that you're actually transporting yourself through time.
What is he saying? Revivifying? Relivifying? I like don't even know what fucking, is that even a word?
The smell, so that you're, that's right.
These senses, right? And they're very powerful. So.
And not only that, you're just not remembering the smell, you're revivifying the smell.
Revivifying. Give new life or vigor to. Revivify. They revivified a wine industry that had all but vanished. Revivified. Okay. Does that make sense? Give new life to a smell? I don't know. I'm revivifying the Parabolan amp from the 80s. I don't know. I don't know if that makes sense.
So that you're actually transporting yourself through time to that particular event. So obviously when it's a great event, that's what we want to be able to harvest. We want to be able to marshal together all those events that are going to help us with our training, be able to fire them off as an act of will and utilize those things.
Mm-hmm. Another thing, you know, like women like to wear men's clothing. Like if it's their boyfriend, like I want your sweater and I'll wear it at bedtime. So it's comforting for me, because not only is it like physical, but there's a smell associated with it. So you smell that person, it feels like they're there with you.
What we're really doing today is we're blurring those lines between what's real and what's imagined.
Hey, how can you go back to a time that you weren't even alive in though?
So that you're able to get back into that perfect state, that perfect frame for you to be able to utilize all those things when you train. Like what did you think of the eye isolation exercise, right?
Yeah, this is like putting blinders on the racehorse, where you're only focused on one thing, you can't see anything.
That's right.
And because vision is such a dominant sense for us, so we're always kind of taking in all these visual cues.
Yep.
And everything just isolate one cue.
That's right.
Like the bicep.
Yeah.
That's what we're focused on.
That's right.
And where the attention goes, the energy flows.
Of course. So now that he's physically done it, it's easier for him to do mentally each time, so that if he wants to focus in on whatever particular body part it is, he's able to fine-tune that right down to that specific muscle. If it's one rhomboid as opposed to the other, whatever it is, this is going to give you way much more symmetry and balance.
Not only that, but I can take this and I can isolate my gym crush that way.
That's right.
I can find her wherever she is.
That's always very important to be able to do that now.
That's right.
No fucking excuses, bro. Yeah, like that was interesting. Is there any validity to it? Like, I guess if it helps you mentally, like think you're dialing in and you're like more motivated and get more connection out of the, you know, the muscle, like fuck, maybe it helps a little bit, but I don't know. I think genetics dominate all at the end of the day, above and beyond what you can like believe happens. You know, like ultimately at the end of the day, a guy like a Phil Heath or a Big Ramy is gonna look at fucking weights and grow while they're on drugs, versus, you know, somebody else might deploy all these tactics and, you know, not do nearly as well and just, you know, are limited by their genetic structure and or, you know, muscle inserts, actual myonuclei banked up that they can actually, you know, induce hypertrophy with, etc. Like there are, I don't know, limitations, unfortunately, that I think the reality needs to be, you know, wrap your head around before you kind of, I don't know, get into the shit that there is some accountability that has to be taken for your own genetics. Like obviously this guy's an IFBB pro. I'm not necessarily talking about him, but in general, like I've seen a lot of people push the envelope, trying new exotic tactics and weird shit all the time to try and like, you know, trick their body into doing something it's just not capable of, or taking more and more drugs and doing more and more things that they think are the secret, when in reality, at the end of the day, the top pros are guys who just explode and genetically hyper respond. And that's, you know, why they're where they're at. It's the work in the gym, the eating, but also the drug response, and their genetics drive them there. No matter how much harder you're working in the gym, like, you know, James Hollingshead, for example, this guy is like fucking modern Dorian Yates work ethic essentially in the gym. But at the end of the day, is he gonna beat, you know, a top guy who even does like fluff training, who has, you know, just better genetics? No. And we see this played out in the results all the time, unfortunately. So if only it was, you know, hard work beats talent every time, that would be great. And obviously hard work plus talent is the lethal combo, but I don't know. It's especially in this sport where it's like, if you have hard work and no talent, like, you will not even get to an IFBB pro card. You will basically bog your body down with excessive amounts of drugs and hinder your health for no reason whatsoever. And I think a lot of accountability needs to be taken by guys in this sport to not just end up grinding away at regional level shows, ruining their fucking health for no reason, and thinking that the next show is the one where the secret, you know, they're gonna double the dose and then it's gonna make the difference and mutate them. And it's just like, no, it's not gonna happen, bro. And it's unfortunate because the guys who often end up abusing themselves the most are guys who don't genetically respond well because they think the secret is always more and more and more, different. And they never saw like crazy results at like a reasonable dose and a reasonable workout routine, a reasonable diet. They start pushing the shit like way too aggressive, way too soon. Whereas, you know, a lot of IFBB pros, they escalate up and use heavy amounts of shit too at some point, but it's like, you know, a titrated progression sometimes they go full board, but ultimately like one of the genetic factors that determines if you're a top pro is going to be your tolerability of the drugs too, which is often overlooked too. If you're somebody who can even stay healthy, or you make use of this shit to begin with and not walk around in a permanent state of like permatoxicity essentially. So anyways, bodybuilding continues to interest me in, you know, the links people go to at both the lowest and highest level, because it's so paradoxical in that a lot of the information is like very out there, but a lot of people either don't want to believe the information, but then there are also people who are lying and underplaying their use. And it's like this whole convoluted, ambiguous fucking mess of a sport that ultimately just ends up with people abusing their bodies unnecessarily, in my opinion. And it's unfortunate how to get to a top level, you do have to actually, you know, induce a level of stress and danger upon your body. But I don't know. It's just, at least the least you can do is evaluate yourself objectively and decide if this is a route you actually want to take and if it is worth it based on what you could actually do. And I think for most people, the obvious go-to decision is that this is not the sport for them. This is like, very few people can make it in this sport and be accomplished at it. And oftentimes it seems like you'd be better off on social media anyways as a fitness enthusiast who's not a bodybuilder, because you're gonna have more energy to make content and like produce high quality information or whatever it is. So anyways, as far as if this Tren sniffing shit works, as far as the hypnosis tricks, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. All the comments help the algorithm. They're much appreciated. Like, subscribe, check out my blog. Moreplates.com. Follow me on Instagram at moreplates.dates, Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter, TikTok, Apple Podcasts. If you want to support the channel, you can check out anything I'm associated with in the video description below. Check out Robin Strand's YouTube channel as well as Instagram and see if he is, I don't know, like, be interesting to see if this makes a difference for him. Like, I speculate it would be negligible, but who knows, bro? Who knows? So anyways, you can check out his stuff. He's Robin Strand on YouTube, presumably on Instagram. And yeah, if you want to support me, check out anything I am associated with in the video description below. My preventative medicine, hormone replacement therapy platform, Gorilla Mind, nootropic formulas, Gorilla Mode, pre-workout formulas, design myself from scratch. Recommended diet model for gaining muscle and sports performance whilst being mindful of micronutrient intake, something commonly overlooked. In addition, clothing company that sponsors me, anything else I'm associated with, it's all in the video description below. And as well, through the preventative medicine, hormone replacement therapy platform, if you are a bodybuilder who needs a non-judgmental doctor who actually understands how to attenuate the risks of what you're doing. I understand a lot of bodybuilders are going to do what they're going to do anyways. Understanding things like angiotensin receptor blockade, understanding things like blood pressure modulation, left ventricular hypertrophy, how to attenuate the risks of all the things you're exposing yourselves to, sleep apnea diagnosis, like all this kind of stuff is so fucking prudent that you stay on top of it and understand it thoroughly. Having regular diagnostics, imaging done, interpretation of that stuff by high quality professionals who actually understand the things that bodybuilders are doing. If you want a high quality doctor who's non-judgmental, you can check us out Links in the video description below and anything else I'm associated with. Thank you guys for watching. Talk to you soon.